Welcome to my throne of history. Actually, it's a chair in my living room with a black sheet thrown over it. But in history, you need to learn to use your imagination. So you better start using yours. From this throne, imagination, come on. From this throne, I'm going to take you on a journey of 10,000 years in 23 weeks. Crash helmet and full harness 5-point seatbelt probably required. We're going to go from 8000 BC until yesterday. Back in the time of COVID, there's a bit more history for you. Back in the time of COVID, I made a video for each of those 23 periods for children who were out of school because of lockdown. We're going to start by looking at the video I made for this period, and then you come back here to my throne. You've got it, haven't you? Yep. Come back here to my throne and I'll give you some more information and some ideas at how you could have a go at living in that period.
Try to remember.
We're getting to the end now, and you need to remember every year in this period of history from 1951 to 1975 was during my lifetime. Indeed. It starts in 1951 with Winston Churchill coming back to power, but also something called the Festival of Britain. If you remember back 1851, there was the Great Exhibition, organised partly by Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's husband. Well, we had the Festival of Britain to celebrate the end of the war and how we were all coming out of that rather dismal, frightening period. 1952, George VI died and Queen Elizabeth II came to the throne, and she is still on that throne. At 1954, we tell you a little bit about Roger Bannister, who ran the first ever mile in under 4 minutes and actually was an old boy of my school. I, however, have never run a mile under 4 minutes. So, 1955, we look at the motor industry. In 1956, we tell you about the very first nuclear power station. 1958 was the very first motorway that we had in England, and also the first crossing of the Antarctic. 1962, and we look at popular music. The year the Beatles arrived. We then go on, and 1966, England won the World Cup at football. Yes, there were other teams playing. I'm sorry to surprise you. Some more inventions, because we look at Concorde, flying faster than the speed of sound and never becoming worth it. We tell you about 1971. I was at work in 1971, and we went from a form of currency that we had to what was known as the decimal currency, which is what you have now. 100 pence make a pound. Not in my day. 12 pence made a shilling, and 20 shillings made a pound. 21 shillings made a guinea. And we had half crowns and sixpences and threepenny bits. It's all there. In 1973, wait for it, we joined the EU. It wasn't called the EU then. I think it was called the European Economic Community. And then in 1974, things started to go a bit wrong, and people went on strike, and they didn't like it because things weren't looking too good. So I was working in the City of London in 1974, and for one period, I think about a month, we had to turn off all the electricity on one side of the office on a Monday afternoon, and on the other side of the office on a Monday morning, and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, something like that, because coal miners were on strike, other people were on strike. There was not enough electricity. Read about it. You will not believe how we lived. I'm beginning to wonder if I do. So what's Owlbut got for you in the way of his hoots? And by the way, he'll be back in a couple of weeks' time, so we'll go back to doing a video podcast then. Well, as usual, we look at homes, we look at clothes, hippie clothes. We all know what they look like. On food, it was the beginning of the supermarkets. When I was young, you didn't go to a supermarket. You'd go to the butcher's for your meat, a greengrocer for your vegetables and fruit, a baker for cakes and bread, a newsagent for papers and sweets, and a grocer for things like jam and sauces. In every shop, you would be served by a person. We tell you all about this on the Hoots page. Go and read it. It's another world. Daily life? Well, again, inventions were coming along. Washing machines, fridges. Can you imagine a time with no fridge? And for culture, it was television. Now, this is going to be a shock to you young people. In 1951, there was one TV channel. 1955, a second one started up. And I think it was 1964 when a third one began. 1967, we began to have regular programs in colour. Before that, we had to sit in front of the television with a paintbrush. Sorry, I'm being stupid now. No, we didn't. But that's how much has changed in my lifetime, if you like. So that is all about the hoots, and finally the story. Shall I just say that only the name has been changed to protect the innocents? Go and have a look, see what you think. See you next week.
Okay, so as you saw, we call this period the time of the hippie, 1951 till 1975. We had Winston Churchill back as Prime Minister. We have the Conservatives in power for 13 years. I've heard that somewhere before. And what else did we have? Well, nuclear power started. England won the Football World Cup. Yes, it is, really. Never done anything like it since. But, 1966, I was sitting there, finals day, watching it. I thought it was all over, and it was. We had pirate radio stations. But eventually the BBC decided to modernise itself, and that was virtually the end of the pirate radio stations. And we also changed our currency, because when I was young, and in fact until 1971, I wasn't that young by then, but we had a currency where there was 4 farthings to a penny, 2 halfpennies to a penny, 12 pennies to a shilling, and 20 shillings to a pound. We then simplified it and made it 100 pence to £1. But for those of us who were at work at the time, we had to change everything we had written in the old currency. But let's go back to the BBC. Let's go back to those pirate radio stations. I'm going to give you something now to have a go at for this period of history, which I am virtually certain you will not be able to do. Certainly not for a week, like I'm suggesting. Have a listen. See what you think of it.
Hello. A have a go for the time of the hippie. Yes, I was there. That is correct. And I'm going to ask you to try to do something just to see what it was like living in those times as far as television goes. This is your have a go for this week. I don't know if you're going to be able to do it, but when I was, the time of the hippie is 1951, I was 2, until 1975, I was 26. Oh, why was I 27? Anyway, never mind that. Sometimes I confuse myself. Anyway, that is a time, during that time, there were only 3, well, at the start, there was only 1 TV channel, but we didn't have a TV, so there was 1 less. Yes, that is correct. We got our first television in 1957, and when that came, there were 2 channels you could watch, and they weren't on all the time.
They started round about lunchtime, they were on for about 2 hours. They started again about 4:30, and they stayed on till about maybe 11 o'clock at night. And then it was all finished. So what I'm suggesting you could try, and I bet you can't do it, but how about if for a week, or even 5 days, or maybe if you're not very good at all, you don't think they're going to be very good, okay, just for one day, only watch 2 television channels. You can't watch anything on Netflix or Amazon or anything like that. You can't look at videos on your phone. All you're going to have is the sort of entertainment we had. You can listen to the radio. You can listen to the radio as much as you like. You can go to the cinema. You can go to a music hall, a coffee bar, whatever you like. You can go to the Cavern if you want. There won't be much on, but you can try it. But basically for television, you can only watch 2 channels. Now, if we were doing this properly, you could only watch BBC One and ITV. No kids programs. Well, they did have kids programs, but they don't now. And I accept that you're not going to get the same thing as we did, because we did used to have children's programs, usually from 5 o'clock till 6 o'clock, and at lunchtime there would be some programs for younger children. You're not going to get that, but for that reason I'm going to let you choose which 2 channels you want to watch. 2 channels, as I say. If you're really, really, really good, no Netflix, no Amazon, 2 channels for a week. If you're not that good, 2 channels for 5 days. And if you're really not good at it at all, 2 channels for a day. Just see what it's like. As I said, as much radio as you like. You can go to the cinema, you can go to a club. Well, you probably can't go to a club because thinking about it, you may be a bit young. But you can certainly go to the cinema, but only 2 television channels. Your choice, which 2? Okay? That's that for this week. There's no little bit after us, so when we say goodbye, we'll be going. How long would it take us to go through every channel that's on telly now? I don't know. 1 minute of each channel would take you a whole day. Think about it. 1 minute of each channel when I was young would take you 2 minutes. What did I do? I used to go out and play. I used to go outside and play. I used to invent games. If you go to the Your Turn page, games I play, there's a game on there that I invented for me to play. So just have a go. Bye.
I know I said there'd be nothing after this, but I suddenly decided, well, let's have a look and see what was on in 1962. And on BBC One, it started at 10:30 with Watch with Mother for very young children. Lasted 15 minutes, and then there was nothing till 1 o'clock when you could watch the news in Welsh. Followed at 1:05 with a Welsh magazine programme for 20 minutes. 1:25, and we had the news for the rest of the country, which only lasted 5 minutes before there was a magazine show. Topical, half an hour, 2 o'clock, end of television until 5 o'clock, when there were children's programmes. The first one I think was an animation, then there was an American cartoon series, and Sketch Club, the sort of forerunner of Art Attack. 5 to 6, 10 minutes of news, 6:05, 15 minutes of a regional magazine programme, 6:20, a do-it-yourself programme with a guy called Barry Bucknell, who could show you how to do anything you want. 10 to 7, Tonight, the forerunner of The One Show. Lasted for nearly 40 minutes, then there was a minute of news headlines, 7:30, Sports View, an hour of sport, watching international athletics and the World Cup. At 8:30, there was a Western series called Bronco, lasted 45 minutes. 9:15, we had the news. 9:25, there was a discussion programme. Were summit meetings, are summit meetings a good idea or not? Absolutely enthralling. We were so taken with that at 10:10, we had 5 minutes of points of view where viewers had written in, yes, using an envelope, stamp and a letter, and somebody read out what they said. 10:15, book stand, discussing books.
At 11:15, Josette and Yvette Roman apparently played the piano for 20 minutes while we all listened. At 11:05, there was the late night news, followed by a half-hour programme in Welsh. And that was it. End of the day. Except that there was a choice, because on ITV, which was regional, there were other programmes, and they started at 5:45 with Small Town, which I'm guessing was a programme for small children. 5 o'clock there was Zoo Time with a guy called Desmond Morris, and at 5:25 Fury, the Meanest Man, which was a children's serial about a boy and a horse. 5 to 6 they also had the news, but apparently the news on ITV took 13 minutes. Then there was Sportscast, which was for 7 minutes. I have no idea what the programme called Command was. 6:45 there was a programme called Here and Now, which was a discussion programme. 7 o'clock there was Take a Letter, which was a quiz, and look at that, 7:30, 1962, Coronation Street. 8 o'clock, Top Secret was a spy thriller. 9 o'clock there was the news, followed by the weather. At 9:15 there was an American sitcom called My Three Sons, and I really found this quite fascinating, but for you young ones it won't be, but for older people it might be. At 9:45 there was an hour's discussion under the topic of the trouble with men, and it was a debate which featured Marjorie Proops, who was a journalist, Barbara Cartland, who you might have heard of and wrote 7,976 different romantic novels, all roughly the same, Fanny Craddock, who was the first ever television cook, and then two politicians who would become a lot famous later, Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister, and Barbara Castle of the Labour Party. At 11:15 there was something called Jim's Inn, which was what was called an ad mag, and a couple, a real couple, Jimmy Hanley and his wife, pretended to run a pub, and people would come in and talk about various things that you can buy. At 11 o'clock there was the news. At 11:02 there was a current affairs programme, and at 11:12 there was Expedition, and I have no idea what that was, and the whole thing finished just after 11:30 with the epilogue, which was usually a vicar or someone indulging in some late night prayers. That was what we could watch. I'm going to go and lie down now and hide my remote.
So there we are. Until 1955, just one television station. Till 1964, just two television stations. And in the case of my house, no television until 1957. We used to sit and watch the radio. Very strange family, but there we are. And if we wanted to change the programme, we had to redecorate the wall. Yeah, really. But there we are. So that's the end of that period. And now we've only got, except.
So you grew up in this time period?
I certainly did.
So would you say you were a hippie?
Well, I agreed with a lot of their values, certainly, yeah.
Like what kind of values?
Well, I believe in peace. I believe in harmony. I believe in combining with nature.
Yeah.
Don't believe in materialism.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah. Possessions and comfort should never be above like your spiritual beliefs.
So yeah, I think I probably would say I was a hippie.
Yeah. So back then you did have, and you still have, long hair.
Some of it.
And
it seems to be going.
Trouble to conform.
Yes, I do have trouble to conform. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
And those people at that time, they were known as flower people.
Yeah, we were all into that sort of thing. Flower power. Yeah.
Yeah. So were you self-raising or just plain?
Yeah,